Hey Taurus, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings. Take what works, leave what doesn't. Don't try to force a story. You'll know because most of the cards will fit, and then you'll get, some additional information. Let's see. If I don't catch your wavelength on this storyline, on this video, go check your other major placements. See if we can't meet up over there. And starting off with the Oracle deck for an intuitive vibe of where we might be going today. And then we're going to move on to a more traditional tarot spread. So far, these cards haven't wanted to say anything. What on earth are we doing here? It's just not a lot going on here. All right, well, I have another set right here, all prepped and ready to go. So we'll see if this deck wants to talk to you, Taurus. Don't take it personally. It's just we aren't having a message for you. Wow, one card. Okay, and then I have a new deck, and this new deck. This new deck. It's a little befuddling for me sometimes. I'm still working with it. We'll see what it's got, if it has anything for us. Like these cards. Okay, anything else for Taurus? Nope. All right, Taurus, what do we have here? We have change of seasons. Oh, I was just thinking about this card a couple days ago about everything changing. So we've got fall, we've got spring, we've got the whole thing. You might be feeling a little vulnerable and a little, down in your underwear, a little exposed, a little vulnerable, as literally everything is changing. It's a pretty big card. I would compare it to the death card. As far as just massive changes going on, everything is changing. So change of seasons, big changes happening. You might be feeling vulnerable, ill-prepared. Not that you are, but that might be how you're feeling. I think there's a sense of needing to just be in this space while everything around you changes, right? Spring, fall, everything, change of seasons. But this is like a change of all seasons. And while these changes are happening, you're staying centered, you're staying grounded, you know who you are within this situation, even though it's a little bit vulnerable. So your response to this vulnerability, your response to this sense of being exposed or being exposed while this, while you're changing your clothes, you're being exposed, right? You have a sense of exposure here. So trying to stay calm and centered and who you are. I mean, as the externals change, our internals also change, right? This is why we like things to stay exactly the same. Our ego likes things to stay exactly the same so that we know who we are moment to moment. And we know, what we're doing here, and we have a sense of confidence and a sense of security. So as the externals change, it could be triggering sense of insecurity, a lack of confidence. Do not let that sway you. Don't doubt yourself as this is going on. Allow these things to change while staying, true to your corest, barest self, right? Your core values. We also got from the Literary Witches Oracle, we got Ghost. I like this coming out with change because a ghost is something that doesn't belong here anymore. Something that has moved on, goes on to the future. I mean, we're going on into the future in reality. This ghost is a relic of the past. And we have change of seasons. So it makes sense that we would have some sort of ghost from your past, it could be your own self. I know, yeah, sometimes I have imagined myself as a ghost haunting my own life, like some sort of past self sort of haunting my current self and my current situation. So as we're doing this this change of seasons, there might be a past self that just doesn't belong here anymore, a past definition of self that just doesn't work for the reality that we have going on here. There could be a sense, though, of this ghost this ghost of yourself, this ghost of a former life, needing to communicate something with you. So even though everything's changing and we're very future focused, we do have a sense of looking back at the past for a bit, for a moment here, and seeing some former part of ourself or some sort of former life. It doesn't belong here anymore, though. We're ready to move on. I'm going to see if the book has anything to add to this. Simply because memories, what haunts you, unfinished business. Yeah. So we're seeing in this change of seasons that you might have something from the past that needs to communicate with you. Of course, it is Mercury retrograde, so we could have lots of things coming up from our past that need to communicate with us. But there might be some unfinished business back there as everything's changing and we're having such a future focus. There is something that, like you didn't put your underwear in the hamper or your socks in the hamper or something. Like if we're talking change of season, change of clothes, there's something that we didn't quite take care of and finish off back there. And we're having a chance to glance back at it and maybe in a way release this ghost. I feel like this ghost needs to be released, whether it's a ghost of yourself, needs to be released, needs to be allowed to rest in peace, in eternal peace. So there's this piece of possibly yourself or some old life that is longing for some rest, and this change of seasons might provide an opening for you to deal with that and allow that to be put to rest. Finally, at long last. All right, Taurus. This is your past, your present, your inner landscape. What's the issue? Environment, to-do list, possible outcome. Okay, in your recent past, we have the Fool, setting out on a journey, level 0 of some sort of trip, some sort of journey, some sort of cycle, something. Yes, we know it's difficult. Yes, there will be dangers. There will be thrills and spills and chills and things will go well, things won't go well. We're beginning, this is the 0 and we go to 21. And so this is the beginning of that journey of the major arcana here. So a big start, a big beginning and something. Yeah, there's danger here for sure. But isn't that also part of the pleasure? Isn't that also part of the fun? When we're chasing waves at the beach, it's only fun if you're somehow if you're afraid of the wave or you don't want the wave to catch you, and then that's where the fun comes in, is that we're trying to avoid danger. There's danger lurking everywhere, and we're trying to avoid it. So we started out a journey. We knew that things weren't going to be perfect. Things weren't going to go perfectly smoothly. We were fully aware of that, and yet we were enticed towards it. And yet it was a beautiful garden and a beautiful trip, and we wanted to go on it. So you chose to go on a trip, on a journey, even though you were fully aware that there is potential for disaster here. Oh well, what else is life? I mean, it just like the Fool card also reminds me of just like incarnating here. Yeah, there's going to be trouble. There's going to be issues. We're going to get out of them. We're going to learn. We're going to go through things. And yet we still choose to be here, or chose to at some point. So that's setting out on a journey, knowing full well it's not going to be perfect, but the rewards will hopefully be worth it. In your current situation, you have the Emperor, you have a divine right to rule, or let's just go with, that's the reading that popped in. You can delegate, you're in charge, you have a say here, you have power. Sometimes the Emperor does raises more questions for me as far as like who's in charge, who has the power, who gets to have the say. But my first guess on this one is that you do. You get to have some say here. You get to be in charge, in control here. You have some sort of right to take leadership, and you're supported. You're supported in that leadership. Other people recognize you as the leader here. Other people recognize that you have the right to have the say, and you have this entire sort of institution built up around you. And we can say people are on the strings, but you're delegating in a way. You're herding cats as well. Like, these people are easily distracted and wandering all over the place and walking without purpose, but but you've got it. You've got to say, you're like the dog whisperer here, the cat whisperer. Like, you've got to say, and you're in charge. And yeah, you get to I'm thinking about the divine right of kings to rule. In that sense that the divine speaks directly to the king. Obviously, that's a weird idea at this point in history. We understand that, but the emperor sort of harkens back to that, as far as like the one with the divine vision, and can see where it's all going, right? This emperor has a very bird's eye view of the whole institution and the whole court, and that's why people can trust them. So if you're not in a position of power, this is a lot of like permission to take control of a situation. If you're not in a position of power, though, you may be dealing with issues of power. Who does get this right? Who does have the right to delegate? Who does have the institutional support and backing? Who gets to play the role of the emperor here? In your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape, something you're thinking about, detaching and moving on from something, pulling up anchor. You're thinking about a place that no longer serves you, no longer has anything for you. And it might be a little bit hard to think about moving on from this place, a little bit difficult. There might be some regrets. You might be even upset about it, upset that you didn't get what you wanted out of this place, out of this situation. But it's time to move away from it, though. Or you're thinking about moving away from a certain situation that just doesn't work for you anymore. I'm actually reminded of this ghost of something weighing on your heart that you'd like to lay to rest or leave behind, right? Leaving behind this ghost in this time of change, leaving behind something that was no longer satisfying for you. Maybe you got what you needed here for a while. Maybe this island was a great little retreat for a bit, but you might be worried about needing to move on from something, and worried about the ramifications, worried about what that's going to be like. You may be seeing more like this dark cloud and feeling unhappy with something, and worried about moving on. You could be hopeful that you would be able to move on, that you could be really hoping that you can put this ghost to rest and allow this ghost to rest in peace. You could be hoping to be able to do that. It's very internal, right? Externally, we're large, we're in charge, we're running things, but internally we've got something we'd really like to let go of, and something we'd really like to move on from and leave in the past and leave behind. And up anchor, uproot ourselves, separate ourselves from this thing, from this. I don't know why the moon. I can think of like the perfect card from my first little deck here to express this. So why didn't you come out? So wanting to move on in a way like cutting cords, and Unbound is the card I'm thinking of from the Work Your Light deck. Unbound. So wanting to do that, thinking about that, or just that weighing very heavily on your heart. What's at issue here is the Hermit card. This could be like no time alone, no time to yourself, not following your own inner vision. Your own inner vision could be calling you to leave something behind. And so this Hermit card is the Hermit in the upright is going to be time away from labels, time away from expectations of other people, and time to just really get in touch with your own self. Maybe some solo time to get in touch with your own North Star and to follow your own guidance. But you're out of that energy right now. Right now we have the Hermit in reverse, which is really a sense of self-definition being tied to your role, being tied to what other people expect of you, being tied to other expectations, other definitions, and not really being able to follow your own North Star, not really being able to follow your own vision, which is interesting because you have all this power right now, and one would hope that this Emperor is leading from their own unique vision. But the Hermit card, not even, maybe you can't even see the next step in something, but you're definitely not like isolated and alone and fully. It's like you have this power, but you're not connected to yourself through it. There's a sense of the vision being clouded and not being able to see your own vision, your own purpose for right now. In your externals, we have 5 of Pentacles. So this could be feeling left out. This could be abandonment. This could be lack, a sense of lack. There's something lacking here and you feel it, you see it, you know it. There's something missing. And there's something where this has abandonment issues. You might be feeling abandoned. You might be feeling alone, which is really interesting because this Hermit card has you very much not alone. But something in your external situation, maybe this is a person that's feeling abandoned near you, but there's a sense of poverty, of not having enough, of not maybe even being enough. And there's something in your situation that feels like it's not enough. It feels like it's like you started out this journey, but there's something about it that's not quite enough. There's not enough resources. I see the Pentacles as time and money, so there could be not enough time in your environment going on. There could be no time to take time out to reconnect with your own internal vision right now. So it could be a lack of time, a lack of money, a lack of resources going on right now. And that's what you don't have. And your environment just doesn't have something. And there might be a focus on that, on what the environment isn't providing. In your to-do list here is this Page of Pentacles. So this is beginning something in the physical world. So it could also just be beginning to see a therapist, right? Because that would be a physical start to some sort of emotional process. And I don't know, that would be for one, that's not for everybody, of course, but physically starting something. There's messages here coming in too. We have a dragonfly, otherworldly messages. And we have this beginning of something, right? She's ready to start gardening. She's ready to start the physical process of gardening. The Page is learning. So you need to be in a very much a beginner mode, learning or relearning something. This is very much, the Pages are beginners. They are freshmen. It's their first day of school at the big high school. They are, she's got a little backpack on, it's watering, she's going to learn about gardening, and she comes prepared to start the work, prepared to start the real work, prepared to learn, ready to learn about some sort of new thing, some sort of activity, which is interesting because we have this Emperor card up here. And this could be you, or this could be someone else. It could be a question of, power. But I also, see you in that position of power, and yet then your to-do list is, okay, forget about the power, forget about being in control, forget about being in charge. Go back to beginner mind. Go back to the beginning to relearn something or learn something completely new. I think this is a really powerful dynamic when we become an expert in something and then we go back to the beginning. To me, that is like first of all, it shows a a sense of a pliable ego that's ready to relearn or be a beginner, right? Sometimes we get really locked into being in charge and knowing everything and knowing what to do all the time, that we define ourselves by that. So this is allowing your sense of self-definition to include being a beginner, being a learner, starting something new. You know, you may have been in a position where you ruled the roost, where you were in charge. You may be in a position where you're that, but not allowing that to be your full definition of self as someone who knows everything and is in charge, but being this learner and this beginner. This is what you wanted. You wanted to begin something. You wanted to start a new journey. So physically starting it in reality, not just in imagination, not just in theory, but in reality. And possible outcome here, Queen of Wands, being really in touch with your own intuition and your own creative vision, which you aren't right here. This is not really in touch with your own. This is allowing outside forces to define you, outside forces to define your vision, allowing that. This is you just being full. And it's like you don't even care what's going on out there. The queens are very internally focused. She's just focused on her own inner vision. That's it. That's all. And these moths, they can come to her light or not. She doesn't care. That's not what this is about. I mean, there's a sense of leadership and being in charge, but this is reconnecting with your inner vision, reconnecting with yourself, reconnecting with your intuition and your inner vision. And there's something about starting something in reality that can get you reconnected with this inner vision and with your inner voice, and your intuition, your own creative vision here, and connecting with that and being focused on that, on your own growth, your own creative vision, and not on these externals so much, and what other people think and what other people are want from you or how they define you. But so your to-do list here, your place of greatest growth is become a beginner again in something in reality, something new. And this is going to help you be very focused on just there's a time to share that. There's a time for leadership, but this seems like maybe you need to go back to some sort of basic inner guidance system and intuition, and not care quite so much what other people think and how they want to define you. Okay, Taurus, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for your likes, subscribes, and comments, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks.